Today I'm here to give my prediction and speculation for The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 1, titled No Sanctuary. But before I get started, please, no spoilers in the comment section. You can leave your predictions, your speculations, and I'll let in the comment section down below, but no spoilers. No complete spoilers in the comment section. Please. So let's get started with my predictions and speculations and on what I think will happen in this episode. Now, I heard a couple of months ago they was filming a flashback scene for The Walking Dead Season 5. Now, I think it's possible that this flashback scene could possibly be a opening scene for the first episode of Season 5 because, and I think this flashback scene is going to be that flashback they was talking about months ago about how Gareth and his people possibly got to Terminus and took it over and killed all the original residents that was there before they arrived. Because remember, I stated this in one of my older videos. What Gareth said made no sense. He literally gave himself away when he had that conversation with Rick. When Gareth first encountered Rick, when Rick had first arrived to Terminus, you see Rick goes into a warehouse in the back warehouse. This is where he first meets Gareth, and Gareth introduces himself to Rick. And Gareth tells Rick, this comes out of Gareth's mouth, we came here for Sanctuary 2. Point 2. When Daryl was in that car, Michonne, Bob, and Tyreese, when Terminus was being broadcasted live, it was a male voice who was broadcasting the Sanctuary. But once we see Rick and his group arrive to Terminus, we see a woman broadcasting. And also, back to what I was saying about Gareth. Gareth tells Rick, when he first meet Rick, he says, we came here for Sanctuary 2. But the way he walked up to Rick and approached him, he kind of gave off that demeanor as, we are the founders of this place. Welcome. We are the founders. Welcome to Terminus. But yet when he talked to Rick, he tells Rick, we came here for Sanctuary 2. Okay, let's look back at all the sanctuaries. Woodbury, the governor, when Andrea and Michonne first arrived at Woodbury, did you hear the governor tell them, welcome to Woodbury, we came for Sanctuary 2? No, because governor was the founder of Woodbury. Why would he tell them, we came for Sanctuary, when you the founder of that sanctuary? The only thing he told Andrea and Michonne is, welcome to Woodbury. If you're a founder of a sanctuary, when visitors come to your property, would you tell them, welcome to such and such, and we came here for Sanctuary 2? Why would you say we came for Sanctuary 2 when you're the founder of it? So that tells you, when Gareth and his people arrived to Terminus, because remember, that whoever was broadcasting Terminus was broadcasting everywhere. So when Gareth and his people possibly arrived to Terminus, they end up killing the original residents that was there before they was. And that's why I think the flashback that we getting will be about how they took over the place. That's my predicting speculation on what I think will happen. Next, we know for a fact Carol will arrive at Terminus and end up saving Rick, Daryl, Michonne, Abraham, and the rest of the group once she get there. Because in a promo that was released by AMC, we see Carol in the same room with mud in her face and a gun in her hand. We see her in the same room that we saw Rick in his group, that we saw Rick in the group in, where it had all these prayer signs, and it also had all the victims' name written on the floor with items next to their name. Carol was in that same room because we see candles in that same room, and we see Carol in Terminus asking where is the rest of her group. Now, in order for Carol to bust into Terminus like that with mud in her face and a gun, she have to have seen something going on there before for her to do something like that. Now, remember, there's a scene at the Comic-Con trailer, and we see it's a fence. From our from our point of view, from the camera, we can see through a fence, a metal fence. You can see through the holes of the fence. It's kind of blurry, but we can see through a metal fence. And through that metal fence, we see the train cargo, the same train cargo that Rick and his group is in. Except we see the termites taking Rick and dragging him on the concrete. When we see Rick mouth is gagged, and we see the back of his hands is tied up, because we can see his hands on his back tied up. If you can see how Rick is on the concrete and he's cutting up like panicking. He's just going crazy. We can see how the termites are literally on top of Rick trying to hold him down. Now, from our view, we can see it through the metal fence. That's from the camera view. But that could be from Carol's view. She could be seeing this going on through that fence. She could be seeing Rick with his mouth gagged and Rick with his hands tied to his back getting treated like that. And therefore, I think that will cause the sign for Carol, or raise some type of awareness for Carol to know, okay, I know what's going on at this place now. Let me get a herd of zombies or a couple of zombies and get into this place and use the zombies as some type of decoy while I get into the main parts of Terminus and start asking questions or find out where the rest of my group is at. So I think Carol was the one looking through that fence when she saw Rick and the rest of the group getting pulled out the train cargo when they set those smoke bombs, those sleep gas bombs in there. Now, they did mention for this episode that we will see a special or a character that we haven't seen in a while, or we might see some type of major cliffhanger or a cameo appearance from a character that we haven't seen in a while. Now, my prediction speculations is I think it's Morgan Jones. We haven't seen Morgan in a long time. Also, the reason why I say this is because in the comic book, when Rick and his group was at the prison, it was a while before we saw Morgan and the Wayne again. But they did make a short cameo appearance when Rick and his group was at the prison in the comic book. Because when Rick and his group was at the prison, Christmas had came around. So Rick and the rest of the people was celebrating Christmas at the prison. But Morgan and Dwayne made a cameo appearance within that same issue when they was celebrating Christmas, because in that cameo appearance in the comic book, we see Morgan Jones at his house, we see Dwayne Jones at his house with his father, and we see them hanging up Christmas Artemis. So I could be wrong, not Christmas Artemis, but in that cameo appearance, we see Morgan giving Dwayne a present. And I think that present is like a Game Boy or something. But they did make a brief cameo appearance. Except this time in the TV show, Dwayne is not alive. Morgan is alive. So I think it's possible that we will see Morgan appear within this, or make a cameo appearance within this episode. Just possible, just a thought. Also, AMC released another promo. We see Rick and the rest of the group walking through the woods. Now, if you pay attention to their face expression, you can see Rick smiling. You see everybody smiling in the woods except Abraham, Rosita, Eugene, and the rest of them, because they don't know Rick group that good, and they pretty much just meeting everybody. But we see Rick in the main group smiling. Now, what I think is going to happen is Carol is going to tell Tyreese, well, look, you stay behind, you watch Judith, because one of us have to go in, but one of us have to watch Judith. So she leaves Tyreese behind with Judith. And I think once Rick and his group, because I think they will escape within this episode. Episode 1, I think they will escape Terminus. And and that's the scene what I was talking about when you see Rick and the rest of the group smiling in the woods. They have like a brief smile. I think Rick and his group ends up seeing Tyreese outside of Terminus in the woods by the railroad track with Judith in their hand, with Judith in his hand. So it has to be right, because why else are they smiling? You don't see Abraham, you don't see Eugene, you don't see Rosita smiling, because they don't know the group that good, and they don't know who's outside of tournaments, and they don't know Tyreese. They don't know about no baby. And you see Rick, and you see Carol, you see not Carol, but you see Carl, you see everybody smiling. Michonne, not even Michonne, but you see Michonne smiling, but you definitely see Rick with a big smile on his face. So I definitely say he sees them out. He gets to meet Tyreese with his baby outside of tournaments once they escape. Now, also in the promo, we see everybody lined up in a warehouse, and we see Gareth kind of talking to Gareth talking to Bob first, and then we see him messing with Rick, kind of fooling with it, playing with his head. We see a guy behind Glenn with a metal baseball bat in his hand. Now, I think this guy is going to I think he's going to hit everybody, or I think Garrett and his people will end up knocking everybody out and putting them back into the train cargo. And I think when they escape, when they actually start to escape, I think that they will possibly be freed out of that train cargo, not out of that warehouse that we saw them being gagged up and stuff and lined up and ordered and stuff. They're not going to escape out of their warehouse. I think Garrett and his people will end up knocking them out and putting them back into the train cargo, or knocking them out for a short amount of time. Because we see a guy with the baseball bat in his hand behind Glenn, and it looks like he's about to swing at Glenn's head. He might end up knocking them out. But also in the new promo that was just released, we see Glenn with that same metal baseball bat in his hand. So we know for a fact the guy who had the baseball bat in his hand in that scene ends up getting killed, because Glenn has his baseball bat. Also, in that lineup that we see with everybody gagged up, we see Sam in that lineup. Sam is the guy that we saw make a brief short appearance in season 4. Sam was the guy that Rick had gave his watch. Now, Sam have to die. I definitely see Sam dying in this episode, because in later episodes we see Rick with his watch back on. So Sam might end up dying. He's gonna definitely end. I see Sam dying in this episode, because I see Rick and his group leaving Tournaments in this episode. I see them escaping in this episode. So, I think I pretty much covered everything up. And I think that I know for a fact Garrett will reveal his true intentions in this episode. He will reveal who they are. Because from the scenes when he was talking to Rick, pretty much sums it up. He's going to reveal who they are. He's going to reveal, like I say, I definitely see Carol bringing in some zombies as a decoy to kind of help her out, because I can tell Carol takes those types of risks, because I can see Tyreese telling her, well, look, I'm going to come with you because I know you need my help, but then she going to tell Tyreese, no, you sit back and you keep Judith. I don't want to put her in harm's way. That's fine. You stay back with her. I'll just use the zombies as a decoy, because they was following us. And bam, I go in the tournaments, and I look for them. Because like I said, Carol is not going to bust in, because her and Tyreese is looking for Sanctuary. They don't know Rick. Well, they don't know the rest of that group is at tournaments getting treated like that. They don't know that yet. So in order for her to be in the Sanctuary known as Tournaments with mud in her face and a gun, she have to have seen something through those fences going on in order for her to bust into it like that. You just can't assume nothing like that and just bust in the way she did with a gun and just start asking questions like that. You have to see something. Especially when you just got a gun pulled. When Rick arrived at Tournaments, did you see Rick go into the main part of Tournaments with his gun pulled out like that? He had his gun, but but it wasn't pulled out the way she had hers pulled out. So she seen something go on. She seen Rick getting gagged and fighting, trying to fight back, and when they hit him in the concrete. So hope you guys enjoyed my prediction and speculation video. Please feel free to leave your thoughts, your comments, your prediction, your speculations, your thoughts, all it in the comment section down below. Please give me a thumbs up for this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think will happen in the first episode of Walking Dead Season 5. Have a blessed day and peace.